Hello, welcome back to the overview video of the Simplement Data Director. We just finished up with the Dictionary Explorer, and now we're going to move on to the Hierarchy Projector Explorer. But in order to do that, we need to first set up some configuration options for the hierarchy. So that's what we're going to focus on in this quick video. Just like the Dictionary Explorer, all I do is click here where it says Hierarchy Projector Configuration, and the tool will open up a new window with the Hierarchy Projector Configuration options. Now when you first open this window, it might look different than what I have here, or it might look the same. And the difference would probably be these SAP schema tables and whether they're replicated or not. Right now in the demo system I'm using, these are all already replicated, so that's why they have these nice green icons. If they weren't replicated, they would have this little red icon that you see below. And in order to solve that, all you have to do is replicate them. And these 10 or so SAP tables are going to be required in order to fully use the hierarchy projector. So if any of these aren't replicated, now would be a good time to ask whoever in your organization is managing the replication manager to add these tables to replication. I'm just going to assume that we already have all these tables replicated, which we do in this case. And this brings us to all these other tables in the different SMP schema, which is a schema that we create for Simplement. And these are not SAP tables, these are tables that are generated by some internal processes of R. And this is what we really have this whole window open for, is to generate these objects in the target database, and then we're going to schedule a job that will populate them with data periodically. So to generate these objects, it's very simple. All I do is select them, hit Generate Object. It'll take a second to generate it. We'll see it already switched to green. And we just go down the list one after another doing this until they're all generated. And just to be clear, you do need to generate all these objects, not just one or two of them. Skipped ahead a little as I clicked through all those objects, and just a quick note, it doesn't really matter. All you have to do is hit Generate Object, but this last object you'll see is actually a system function. It's not a table like the other ones. That's just for future reference if you're ever looking at these. With all the objects now generated, which we can tell because they all have this nice green marker, we can now go ahead and schedule a job that will periodically update these objects and make sure they always have up-to-date data. So to do that, we can just hit this Schedule Job button, and it'll open a second window. Just a quick note about scheduling this job. Sometimes people who are able to connect to the target database, their Windows or SQL login doesn't have the necessary permissions to create a server job, because really what this is going to do is going to create a SQL Server agent job. So if you run into an error around this point, it probably means that your user does not have permissions to create server jobs, and in that case you just need to ask for elevated permissions or get someone who has elevated permissions to do this step for you. So assuming that you do have the permission to set up a SQL Server agent job, you can see here it auto-generates a default job name. You can change that if you want. I'm just going to leave it with the default because that's fine, and it makes it easy to find because it tells you exactly what the job is doing. Also by default it's set to process every 1 hour, and this in 99% of cases is fine because this job takes about 15 to 20 seconds to run. But if you want to make it at a slower schedule, you're free to do that. Just know that it will affect how up-to-date your hierarchy information is. I'm happy with my name and the hourly schedule, so now all I need to do, the last step, is add a client. And in this case, in my demo system, it's 800, but this again totally depends on what your SAP configuration is. I'll just hit OK, and now we're all set. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit Create Job, and it'll do that. And then if I want to make sure that that job was created, there's a couple ways to do it. One, you can just hit the Schedule Job button again, and you'll see here it filled out some more fields saying that yes, it was created just a few moments ago. Or alternatively, you can connect via SSMS, connect to the database and look at the SQL Server agent jobs that way, and you'll see a job named that there. I'm not going to do that though, but that's another way that you can confirm the job has been created.